Welcome back to A Ride in the Country. I'm Cliff Fawcett, your host. Today we're going on a ride that's going to feature the covered bridges of Greene County, Ohio. We've been planning this trip for about a year, and today is finally the day. It's a beautiful fall day. It's about 72 degrees. It's a little windy, as you might be able to tell, but it should be a good day. It should be a nice ride. Come along and join me as we go see the covered bridges of Greene County. Now, there are 6 covered bridges, and we might just see 5 because the 6th one is a little bit out there and I'm not sure I'm going to feel like it. So stick around and stay tuned and see if we see all 6 or maybe just 5. Let's go. So on the general topic of covered bridges, why were the bridges covered in the first place? So it seems like during the heyday of covered bridges, which was about 1825 to 1875, bridges were covered mainly to protect the deck from the weather, the rain, the snow, the sun, to keep the decking from rotting. And that was the main reason. They found that a bridge would last about 100 years if you covered it, and if you left it out in the open, it would last about 20. But there were some side benefits that were available. You can imagine back in 1825, the main source of transportation was horse and buggy, or maybe just horse. And some horses get spooked when they're crossing water, and so by covering the bridges you keep the horses from being able to see the water that they are passing over. They could also be used for impromptu places for weary travelers to rest. They could be used for little town meetings. They could be used for late night rendezvous. Recently, when my wife and I were visiting one of these covered bridges, they were having a wedding inside. So they could be used for a variety of purposes, but the main purpose was to make the bridge last longer. From the research that I did, it looked like there was about 12,000 covered bridges in the United States, and about 3,500 of those were in Ohio. Today, we're down to about 138. There are websites that keep track of these things, and in my county where I live, Greene County, we are fortunate enough to have 6. Now I'm going to overlay the map right now. So this is a map of Greene County, Ohio, and each one of these pennies represents a covered bridge. So obviously this one is kind of an outlier. So we're going to start with this one, and then this one, and then these 2. And then we'll come down here and we'll decide if we just go see that one or if we pick up this one and then that one. So we shall see how it goes. First up here is Charleton Mill. If you want to get a map like the one I have, I got it for free at the Greene County offices in Xenia. And when you walk right in the door of the Greene County offices, there's maps, and it says free, take one. So I'm on Wilberforce Clifton Road, and I'm about to take a left onto Charleton Mill Road. So 1-lane bridge, and around the corner here we have the Charleton Mill covered bridge. Let's park and we'll give you a little bit of history on this bridge and some statistics. First covered bridge on our tour today is the Charleton Mill covered bridge. It was built in 1860 and it served very well until a very unfortunate accident happened in 1969. A truck with about 20 tons of gravel tried to cross the bridge, and the deck failed and the bridge collapsed and the truck ended up in the riverbed. They were able to get it repaired and back into service, but then over the years the bridge slowly decayed, and in 2011 it was closed. They rebuilt the bridge, and by rebuilt I mean they literally built a brand new bridge, and it opened in 2013. So this is a brand new bridge that is a replica of the original bridge. If my research is correct, the bridge is about 128 feet long, and it's made up of 12 truss panels. So if you count these X's, these big X's, you should come up to 12. There is a skim coating of asphalt in here. Some of the other covered bridges you'll see are the original wood, and they get a little slick when they're wet or when they're icy for sure. I counted the trusses, and indeed there are 12. And I want you to notice, because you'll see this on some of the other bridges, these big long metal bolts that go from the top to the bottom. This is one method of construction. I will put that method on the screen right now. I think it's called Hobbs, but I'm not 100% sure. The bridge crosses over the Massey's Creek, which goes down through Cedarville and joins up with the Little Miami River in Xenia, Ohio. And that is the Charleton Mill covered bridge. So on to our next covered bridge, which is the Stevenson Road covered bridge. It's about 2 miles to the west of here. We're just going to kind of crisscross some back roads, and we'll be there in a jiffy. I'll show you some of the footage because it's beautiful. It's fall, and who doesn't like the sounds of a motorcycle? Turning right on Jones. And if you stay on Jones, it turns into Stevenson. The Stevenson Road covered bridge was built in 1877 and it was restored in 2015. Traffic used to come down through here and through the bridge, but a new bridge was built and this one is no longer needed. They restored it. It's open to pedestrian traffic and it is just a beautiful setting, especially in the fall. This is a Smith truss bridge. I say that as if I know, and I don't. But there are 8, I believe. We'll count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It is a 10 truss bridge. Bridge number 2, Stevenson. Next bridge is going to be at the Glen Helen Nature Center in Yellow Springs. This bridge was originally somewhere else, and they were going to tear it down, and they moved it to this location, and it's a very popular destination. I drive by it quite frequently. You can't really see it from the road, but there's almost always cars there, and it's part of a nature area in Yellow Springs called Glen Helen, which is just a beautiful natural area that is owned privately but is open to the public. So we'll go check that bridge out, and if my facts are correct, and I will check afterwards, I believe the bridge we're going to see after that was named for the person who was instrumental in having it moved. So yeah, we'll check that out, and we'll also give you dates. So the date on the screen right now is the date that the bridge we're going to in Glen Helen, the date that it was built, and then I'll also put the date when it was moved. Breezy. And by breezy, I mean windy. This ride is probably, I'm gonna guess, 3 miles. This video was filmed in October. I went by here a couple hours ago and that field was full of soy, so looks like Craig has been busy harvesting. This is Greene Road, and the covered bridge is just off of this road. Here is the Little Miami River, one of the first state and scenic national rivers. I don't know, it has a designation similar to that. So this is where you pull off to see this covered bridge, and true to form, there's vehicles here. Welcome to Glen Helen, a private nonprofit nature preserve. And I just want you to see how close it is to the road. You may be able to see it already, not sure. It's probably only like a, I don't know, 500-foot walk, maybe 500 yards, which is 3 times as long. This little trail leads right to the bridge. Again, it used to be on Cemetery Road. Now it's pretty much in the woods. It's crossing over Yellow Springs Creek. This bridge is a 6 truss panel. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you can see it's the construction style like the first bridge that we saw, it has these big long bolts that go from the top to the bottom. Has a fresh coat of paint on it. It's just here the other day, and freshly painted. Smells good. Well, if you're keeping count, that's bridge number 3, the Glen Helen Bridge, or some people call it the Cemetery Road Bridge. So the next bridge is only about, well, it's probably a half a mile if we went that way. If we went that way. But we have to go around, so it's probably about a mile from here. So let's go check out the East Hyde Bridge. This is Yellow Springs Creek right here, the body of water that the Cemetery Road Bridge crosses. Now this next bridge is interesting. A couple things. It's called the Richard Eastman East Hyde Covered Bridge, and Richard Eastman was the Greene County engineer that had that bridge that we just saw relocated to that location. And so it's kind of neat that they honored him by naming this bridge after him. This is East Hyde Road. Beautiful fall day. Trees changing. The unique thing I wanted to mention about this bridge is that it doesn't cover or cross a body of water. It actually crosses the bike path. So let's go check it out. Well, if you're keeping track, that's bridge number 4. I'm getting hungry, and I'd like to go get something to eat and something to drink. At this point, I'm definitely not feeling the the Engle Road Bridge, which is kind of 10 miles out into the country, but we'll see. Let's ride to Xenia and get a little snack. See if we feel any better. So I finished eating at McDonald's. The next bridge is about 10 miles. Says it's about 20 minutes. So let's go. Well, this is really the 6th one. I know it's the 5th actually, but this is the one that's kind of way out there. And I say way out there, it's, you know, 10 miles, right? But compared to the grouping of the others, it's kind of an outlier. But after I got a bite to eat and something to drink, I felt good. And it's a beautiful day. So I think I'm going to hit all 6. We'll see. But the Ballard Road bridge is kind of on the way home from here, so it shouldn't be too much out of the way to hit that one on the way home. I paused because I've got directions happening in my ear and I don't know where I am. So, I mean, you can't get any more than a ride in the country like this. Turning right. This bridge is called the Engle Mill covered bridge. Henville Road. How about that? I'm glad I didn't skip this one. This is beautiful. I think we're getting close because this is Engle Mill Road and the covered bridge is called the Engle Mill Covered Bridge, and my directions just said 3/4 mile. Covered bridge is on your left. So we are getting there. I have been to this covered bridge once in the car. Just scouting it out for this ride, but I didn't come this way, and this is beautiful. Wow, there it is. You can see it now. Maybe not on the GoPro, but I can see it up there on the left. That wasn't that bad. Engle Mill Covered Bridge, built in 1877, restored in 2014. Okay, number 5 there, Engle Mill, and we're headed to number 6. Ballard Road, Blue Stone. I think it's nice that they freshened this up. I was just down here not too long ago, and it was not this nice. So, yeah, looks good. Cue the trumpets. Da, 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 da. They have... Oh, look at that. We have reached the 6th and final covered bridge. Ballard Road covered bridge. This construction looks more like the Stevenson Road with, no, not Stevenson, Charleton Mill, with the big long bolts, I guess you call them. So when they put in the 35 bypass here, this road became a dead end. But this is the Ballard Road covered bridge, built in 1883, restored in 2016. I hope you enjoyed this Covered Bridges tour of Greene County, Ohio. If you did, click like below, click subscribe if you want to see more like this. And don't forget, if you ever want to go for a ride in the country but it's too hot, too cold, too wet, too dark, it's always nice right here on YouTube for a ride in the country.